Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the board game Carnegie. This is one of those games where there are many roads to victory. As always, it's best to focus on just a few things instead of going for everything. Here's how it goes. You are going to play until all 4 of these tokens are all the way to the right. Then the game is over and you look to this overview on the game board to do the final scoring. These are all the things you get points for when the game is over. You already have some points that you got during the game, and you add these up. Whoever has the highest score is the winner. I'll go through all of them in a moment, but again, the game ends when these 4 tokens are all on the right side of the action board. Then you do the final scoring. If you have the most points, you are the winner. Let's go through this overview. If 1 or more players have this token with them, then you get 3 points if you didn't use this token during the game. You get 1 point for each meeple that you have on your own player board that is standing upright. You get 2 points for each office tile that you have built on your own player board on these spaces. You get 3 points for each office you build in the top row. During the game, you might have placed some discs here on the main board. For each disc that you have placed, you get the points that it will say next to each disc. These are small objectives that you can try to reach during the game, and now is when you get the points for that. Keep in mind that each disc can never score you more than 12 points. Even if you would get more points, 12 points is the limit per disc that you have placed here. During the game, you have also pulled out these strips of your own player board. In case you see any points written on them, now is when you score those points. Another thing that happens when you play is that you put your own discs on the spaces on the map. Each city will show you how many points it's worth. Count up all the points from that. And the last thing you score points for is connections to cities. For that, you look at this overview here. 5 cities on the map show this link icon. Count up how many of those cities you have linked. You have to have an uninterrupted line from one city to the next, like this. These are connected. There is a disc in each city between this one and this one. And then you look at where your own discs are on these tracks. If you manage to get your discs to the rightmost space of each track, then you get the maximum points for the links you have made. In case at least one of them didn't make it all the way to the right, then you get fewer points. If on only this track my disc is on this middle space, then I get the points that are shown in this middle column. But that's it. Like I said, there are many ways to score points. I won't repeat it, just look at this overview or in the rulebook for a reminder. Next, how do you play the game? What do you do when it's your turn? When it's your turn, you have to take this gear token and place it on the right side of the white tokens on the action board here. So I could place this here, 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 or here. It's up to me. As soon as you have made a choice, first everyone at the table has a chance to get some income. And after that, starting with you, everyone at the table can do the action that you chose. So again, the active player picks an action, and then everyone could get income, and after that, in turn order, everyone has the opportunity to do the action that you picked. When every player has done the action, or maybe passed, then you can pay money to put some flat people upright. The token on the action board moves to the space that you picked. You end it by passing this locomotive to the player to your left, and that person goes next in picking an action. I'll pick this action. The space is purple, and I've placed it on the action with this icon. Step 1. Income. I chose the purple space, so we look here at the purple area. I have 2 of my own meeple in this purple area. I placed them there earlier. If I want, I can take back 1 or both of my meeple to get income. Right now, my disc is here on this purple track. It shows $4 at the bottom. That means I get $4 for every meeple I take back. If I leave them there, I get nothing. If I take 1 back, I get $4. If I take both back, I get $8. I'll leave 1 here and just take 1 back. That goes back onto my player board in the lobby, and I have to put it flat, lying down. And I take my $4 from the bank. The other players do the same. If you don't have any meeple in that area that was chosen, you can't get any income. If you do, then it's up to you if you choose to take it or not. Then, step 2. I have chosen the action with this icon. So, I look at my own player board. I can see that same icon. Twice even, here and here. That means I can do this action and this action. And I can do it as many times as I have upright meeple in that office. In this one, I have 1 upright meeple and the other one is lying down. So I can do this action once if I want. This one says, take 3 money from the bank or 1 cube. Or place a meeple from here onto the game board to get $6 or 2 cubes. I'll do that. I'll take my upright meeple and place it in this area. And then I choose to take 2 cubes from the supply. In this other office on my own player board, I only have 1 meeple, but it's upright, so that means I can also do this action once. This action says I can build a new office in an empty space on my own player board. I can pick any office I like from the display here, and I can build it wherever I want as long as the space is empty. I'll choose this office. The action says that if there is no meeple in that empty space, I have to pay 2 cubes. But if I happen to already have a meeple there in an empty space, it only costs me 1 cube to place this tile. Well, I've got this guy lying around. I'll build it here. I pay 1 cube, place the tile, and the meeple stays in the office. Done! If I would have had another office with this icon on it and an upright meeple in that office, I could have done that action as well. When you do an action, you have the option to do all the actions of that particular icon, even if another player picked an action. But I'm done. So now the player to my left does this action. You don't have to do it, that's up to you. And it's also possible that you can't do it. If you don't have any upright meeple in that particular office, you can't do the action. You need meeple on your own player board that are standing up. When every player is done, then now everyone has the option to put meeple that are lying down up. Look at the space where the meeple is. If it doesn't say anything, then you can just stand it up. If it shows an amount of money, you have to pay that much money to the bank for every meeple in that office that you want to place upright. Small detail, at any point you can always pay 1 cube to get $1 from the bank. When every player is done with that, you slide the token on the action space to the one that you picked. This is how these tokens move toward the right, toward the end of the game. This is the end of my turn, so I pass the locomotive to the person to my left, who goes next in picking an action space. And that's it. This is how you play Carnegie. You can also look at your information card to help you during the game. Let's have a look at all the other standard actions that you can do, because all the additional actions that are on these tiles that you can place on your board are described in the rulebook, in case you don't understand what they do by looking at the icons. You have this icon with the meeple and the arrows. You choose this action when you want to move your meeple around on your own player board. You get 3 movement points for every upright meeple you have here. There's one already printed on the board. If you have 2 other upright meeple here, that means you have 9 movement points to spend on your meeples. Your meeple can move left or right, and up or down, not diagonally. And when a meeple has moved, you always place it face down, because it was so exhausting to move from one space to the next. Don't forget that you can move a meeple to a space that is empty. That will make it cheaper to place a new office tile there later. There's this icon of a blueprint being rolled open. This is the upgrade action. For each upright meeple you have here, you get 3 upgrade points. You have 2 places to spend those points, and you can combine if you want. You can spend upgrade points in moving your discs up on these tracks on the main board. Each space will show you how many points it costs to move your disc to there. Or you can spend your upgrade points on pulling out these strips on the right side of your own player board. Also, here it will show how many upgrade points it costs to pull it out one more space. When you pull out a strip and it shows a circle, that means you can take 1 disc from your own supply and place it on that circle. Now you can use that disc later if you do a build action. The last one is this icon of a bridge and a skyline. This is the build action. If you have an upright meeple here, you have to place it somewhere on the board, one of those spaces where you could get income for it, and then you can place one of your discs on the map. You don't take a disc from the general supply, but one of the discs that you have placed on your strips. The price for taking the discs is written next to it. Some cost 1 cube, some cost 2 cubes. If I take my disc from this purple strip with the bridge icon, I can place it on any space on the board that also shows the purple bridge icon. I'll place it here. So I pay 2 cubes for that. When you build, you also always have the option to build it on a city that doesn't show an icon, these ones. If you do, you get a little reward. If I place my disc on one of those spaces in the purple area of the map, I look at where my disc is on this purple track. It's still there in the $4 space. So that means I get $4 for placing my disc in a smaller city in the purple area. Another thing about this, now that I have taken my disc away from this purple strip, it has revealed this icon of 1 point. That means from now on, when we have that income moment in step 1, I don't just get $4 when I take back my meeple, I also get 1 point. Removing discs from your strips means you get more income. The only rule is that if you choose to remove a meeple, you only get it once. If you removed 2 meeples, I don't get 2 points. And anyway, those were all the basic actions. You can do them if you or another player chooses that action and you happen to have upright meeple on that space on your own board. You can add tiles to have more offices, which means you can do more actions. 2 more important things about the action board. You can see there are a few spaces that don't have a color. They're just white. That means no one will get any income. But when you choose this space, then in turn order, every player has the chance to pay money to place 1 disc from your general supply on one of these spaces on the main board. Remember that these are objectives that you can choose to accept and get points for at the end of the game. There can be only 1 disc on each objective. Placing your first disc costs you $5, and after that it gets more expensive. Just look at the board for that. And the last thing about the action board is this. As soon as a token has reached the rightmost space, does that mean you can't choose that action again? No, you can still choose it. Just place the gear token to the right of it. To see what you're supposed to do for step 1, you look at the first available space in the row under it. So let's say that this one is here all the way to the right, and I choose this action. So I place the gear here. For step 1, the income moment, I look at the row below it. This is the next available space. So for step 1, we look at this space. And then for step 2, we do this action, the one that I picked. When you're done, you move this token 1 space to the right, since the one that I chose can't go any further. 1 final detail and then we're done. Depending on how many players there are, it's possible that 1 or all players have this token. If you have it, then you can use it once in the entire game. In case another player has chosen an action that you do not want to do, you can spend this token to instead do a different action of your choice. Once you've used this token, it's useless. If you've played the whole game without even using it once, it will give you 3 bonus points at the end of the game. We're done. This is Carnegie. It's quite a lot, but possibly not as much as you might have expected. I hope you feel like you understand how this game goes, and if you play it, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, and see you for the next one.